Coming up on this edition of Access Virginia Beach, an unwelcome visitor pays us a visit. Find out how this alligator ended up in a local pond. And the city prepares for the worst in an emergency water distribution exercise. Plus, Virginia Beach's finest welcome a few new members to the ranks. That and more coming up as we access Virginia Beach. Hello and welcome to VBTV's Access Virginia Beach, a program that informs you of news and events from around our city and schools. I'm John Linka. Thanks for joining us. Hurricane season is here, and municipalities up and down the East Coast have been encouraging citizens to be prepared in case of an emergency.
Hi. You want it in the back seat or in your trunk?
In the back.
That was the case as the Public Utilities Department conducted emergency exercises to test the city's ability to distribute water to citizens in the Creeds, Pungo, and Blackwater areas.
We know it's important for the city to be prepared in case an emergency event were to occur. We know that the National Hurricane Center predicts a higher than normal amount of hurricanes this season, and since we're on the Atlantic coast, we're extremely susceptible. So we just want to make sure, in case anything were to occur, even though it's highly not likely that a hurricane would actually disrupt the citizens' water supply, we just know how important it is to be prepared.
Right lane, right turn only, left lane, left turn.
Okay, thank you.
Having a response plan is important, as about 5,000 residents in these areas are not hooked up to the city's water supply and instead use well water. If they lose power, they also lose their water supply.
Because I want to make sure that if there is a disaster that I'll be able to find a place that I can get water. I think it's really great because sometimes we're the forgotten group down here when it comes to the city.
Would you like an information bag?
Yes.
What to do in an emergency?
Yes.
Here you go. Thank you.
Information gained from this exercise will help public utilities refine their response plan.
Water distribution is especially important for folks to plan to have plenty of water in an emergency. And this kind of planning is so good because it lets not only the staff work the bugs out in the system, but it also lets our citizens know what to do in an emergency so that they know that this would be the way it would work and can be prepared to take part.
Close to 300 residents participated in the exercise and each received a case of water. Special thanks to the volunteers from AmeriGroup and CERT who battled triple-digit temperatures to participate in the drill. Of course, city officials plan events throughout the year to prepare for all types of emergencies, especially hurricanes. And just as the city plans ahead, so should you and your family. Access reporter George Chandler shows us what to expect if a big storm hits our area.
When faced with a pending emergency, whether natural or man-made, you will be tackled with many questions. Am I prepared? What do I need to do? Will I have to leave my home? Though Virginia Beach has been battered by Mother Nature a few times in the recent past, residents have not faced a situation that called for mass evacuations. But what if that were to occur? Would you know what to do? One of your best options may be to take advantage of an emergency shelter.
Well, it's a safe place for people to be in a storm and where they may not be safe at home.
When warranted by threatening conditions, emergency shelters are opened in coordination with Human Services, public schools, Sheriff's Office, and the American Red Cross. A number of schools across the city have been identified as primary and secondary shelters. Because each situation is unique, only certain shelters may be opened at a time.
That depends on the storm itself and how severe it is. And these are all decisions that are made by the emergency operations and the city planners.
Prepare for your shelter stay by packing a few items to help you ride out the storm. Consider a sleeping bag or air mattress with sheets and pillows, a first aid kit, toothbrush and toothpaste, deodorant and other personal items, towels and a washcloth, radio and batteries, medications, 3 days worth of clothing, a cooler and drinks and snacks, perhaps a deck of cards or books to pass the time. When you arrive at the shelter, sheriff's deputies will wand everybody in order to keep all safe. Keep in mind there are certain items which are absolutely prohibited, like alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Other rules are established for your welfare and safety. Smoking inside the shelter is prohibited. Pets are not allowed. No minor children without an adult, and children must not be left unattended. The shelter is not responsible for lost or stolen articles, so leave your valuables in your vehicle. There are quiet hours, and they are enforced. And if you should have a problem or complaint, see the shelter manager.
Well, I hope that they learn that sheltering is a team effort. It's something that we all do together. The staff are there to provide structure and safety, but also it's important to have a good attitude and realize that many people are safe staying in their own homes, but if you come to a shelter, it is a safe place.
Those staff members are easily identified. They'll be wearing the red and white shelter staff lanyards. Once inside, each person will have to register. Shelter staff will be on hand to guide you through the process, but basically, one registration form can be used for an entire household. If you need an interpreter for hearing or language issues, one will be provided for you. If you or a member of your party should have a health or medical issue, you will be directed to the health services table. Registered nurses will be on hand while shelters are open. The nurses will be able to monitor any health issues, refrigerate medications if needed, and even charge special equipment. If you have particular nutritional needs, bring them up with the nurses. Remember, shelters are only equipped to provide basic first aid. Medical needs that require a higher level of care may be transported elsewhere. Here are your accommodations for the duration of your stay. Certainly not a five-star hotel, but a school gymnasium is a safe spot for you and your family. Pick a spot and keep in mind cots and blankets are not provided until after 72 hours. Quiet hours are enforced and usually begin around 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. Mute electronic games and put cell phones on vibrate or silent modes. And if you are looking to keep up to date, TVs will be set up in the common areas or the cafeteria to keep track of the storm. Meals will be served during your stay, but keep in mind, food selections are at the discretion and availability of the supplies at the school, though every effort will be made to provide nutritious and satisfying meals. Those meal times will be scheduled by the cafeteria manager. Big storms are usually big news, so the media may show up at your shelter. The shelter staff has media representatives who have been trained to respond to reporters. Those reporters are not allowed inside the gym so that the privacy of citizens can be maintained. Now, if a reporter comes to your shelter and you would like to talk to him or her about your experience, let the media representative know, and you will be advised when the reporter is available. Shelters exist to provide a safe place for you to reside during a hurricane or other emergency. The staff makes every effort to provide a clean, organized, and safe shelter. Remember to do your part by keeping your area clean, assisting shelter staff if needed, and watching and protecting your children. Still, it's a shelter and doesn't provide all the creature comforts you might want. But take a few precautions and you'll ride out the storm just fine.
Think about it ahead of time, listen to the weather reports, and try to plan as carefully as you can what needs you might have in about a 24 to 36 hour period away from your home. So that's what I would suggest to people that they do, is just focus on that. And then when you come to the shelter, you have the things you need.
Reporting for VBTV, I'm George Chandler.
For more information on how to protect you and your family, log on to vbgov.com/hurricane. More than 800 police officers protect our city, and now the department can add a few more numbers to the ranks.
Congratulations to the 27 men and women we honor here this afternoon.
One by one, the city's newest officers from the 51st Police Recruit Academy marched in for their graduation ceremony.
It's been a dream ever since I was a child. I've always wanted to be in law enforcement, whether it's local or federal. So right now I had the opportunity to come and be a part of a great organization.
From firearms to report writing, these recruits spent 25 weeks and over 1,000 hours in training.
Learned defensive tactics, leadership, communication, how to deal with various situations, solve problems, how to control situations, conflict resolutions. We learned a lot of valuable lessons.
The class was one of the most diverse to graduate from the academy. A third of the new officers are female, and 11% are minorities. The officers can't wait to hit the streets and make a difference in the resort city. The class was also the most educated to complete the academy. Nearly 3/4 of the class earned their college degree. The class was selected from 1,000 applicants. And here's some good news for all of you fitness fanatics out there. Virginia Beach has landed in the top 10 list of America's fittest cities. According to the American Fitness Index, the resort city has earned the #2 spot with more than 52% of our population living an active lifestyle. Virginia Beach was chosen thanks to its 59-block boardwalk, surfer-friendly waters, acres of parkland, and much more. And if you're wondering who took home the top spot, that would be Sacramento, California. Virginia Beach welcomes tourists from all over the nation and the world, but one recent visitor did not exactly deserve the red carpet treatment.
All right, this is a spectacled caiman.
This is one cool-looking alligator, but the most amazing thing is that it was found in a local retention pond off of London Bridge Road.
Fortunately, he was in an industrial area, but someone saw him and reported it to animal control. So that's how they knew he was there.
These alligators are native to South America and, once fully grown, can get up to 8 feet long. So how did this guy end up in Virginia Beach?
More than likely, this alligator was someone's pet, and it got too large for them to take care of it. It's about 3 foot long right now. It's getting to the size that it's going to be hard to care for, and so someone probably let it go, which is not the humane thing to do.
This type of gator is common in the pet trade business, but it's illegal to have it in the state of Virginia without a permit.
It's just not a good thing to have an exotic animal like this as a pet. It's not meant to be a pet. It's a wild animal, and it needs to remain that way.
The Virginia Aquarium is taking care of the gator now and plans to transfer him to another facility in the near future, which is fine with me because it is an alligator after all. Coming up next on this edition of Access Virginia Beach, the mercury is rising. Find out how you can stay cool thanks to a program from the Department of Housing and Neighborhood Preservation. Plus, grab your surfboard. The East Coast Surfing Championships are coming to town. We'll bring you all the details. That and more are coming up next.
Step back in time to learn the story of determined individuals who wanted more for their children. The Union Kempsville Museum tells the story of the first and only school for African American children in segregated Princess Anne County. Located at the Renaissance Academy in Virginia Beach, the museum contains artifacts from the school's history like old photographs, athletic equipment, and prom queen crowns. Interactive features keep the stories of triumph alive. The school may be closed, but the legacy lives on. Visit the Union Kempsville Museum, a story for all people.
Welcome back to Access Virginia Beach. I'm John Linka. Summer is here, and with sunny days comes really hot temperatures. Even though the mercury is rising in Virginia Beach and everyone is feeling the heat, qualifying residents are staying cool thanks to a program from the Department of Housing and Neighborhood Preservation. Here's Access reporter Mickey Acedo with more.
As the long summer days heat up, air conditioning units kick on. But for residents with broken AC units, a summer day can be unbearable.
If anyone is sweltering in their home and they have a medical condition that requires air conditioning, then certainly we're there to help them replace their system, their air conditioning system.
To help beat the heat, the Department of Housing and Neighborhood Preservation offers the Emergency Home Repair Program.
The benefit of this program is that it is, in fact, a grant program. So we are, in fact, giving them the equipment that replaces their defective units.
Now through September 30th, eligible households with a doctor's note stating that air conditioning is medically required may have their defective equipment replaced under the program.
The main qualification I already mentioned, of course, you must be a homeowner occupant for most of the program. The second qualification is that you would have to be 80% or below of the area median income.
The program is funded by grants from HUD. For more information, log on to vbgov.com/housing or call 385-5760. Another way to stay cool this summer is to check out the hundreds of bottlenose dolphins that visit our local waters. The Virginia Aquarium offers a cruise that brings people up and close and personal with those magnificent marine mammals. Here's Access reporter Stephanie Sutton with the details.
Well, this is the Virginia Aquarium moving towards Dolphin Watch. We take people out, try to educate them about the dolphins out in the wild.
It takes about 1/20th of a second for them to be able to take a breath.
It's that time of year again, dolphin watching season. Catch an up-close encounter with Atlantic bottlenose dolphins in their natural habitat.
A lot of people don't have the opportunity to be able to see these animals, so we tell them about their habits, what they feed on, the size that they get, why they're in this area during this time of year, and different items about just the general behavior of the bottlenose dolphin.
The Virginia Aquarium hosts the 90-minute coastal adventure, which is fun and educational for children and adults.
I hope that they learn a little bit more about the marine environment and some of the fun things about the dolphins and some of maybe the sadder things about the dolphins, so that they can help make the marine life a little happier.
These guys are common visitors to Virginia Beach, but the best time to spot them is during the summer months.
We don't anticipate dolphins here year-round. Normally we see them from about May through October. However, the past few years we have had a few show up on our whale watch trips.
They also get one set of teeth.
Volunteers from the aquarium are also on board, giving various demonstrations. But the best part? The dolphin sightings, of course.
It was awesome. This is my second time on it, and it was amazing. Tons of dolphins.
Sound like fun? Well, you can purchase tickets here at the Virginia Beach Fishing Center, at the aquarium, or by calling 385-0317. Reporting for VBTV, I'm Stephanie Sutton.
The trips are offered April through October and leave from the Virginia Beach Fishing Center at Rudy Inlet. For times and ticket prices, log on to virginiaaquarium.com. Cowabunga surf lovers, grab those beach chairs and some sunblock and get yourself stoked for the granddaddy of them all. Surf's up and riders are getting their boards ready to rock the 49th annual East Coast Surfing Championships. For years, ECSC events have jammed on the beach from 2nd through 9th Streets. Highlights include pro surfing and amateur surfing competitions at the Rudy Inlet Jetty, concerts on the main stage located at 2nd Street, and a professional volleyball tournament with competitors contending for $75,000 in prize money. Don't miss out on the fun. The contest begins Monday, August 22nd and runs through Sunday the 28th. For more information, surf the web at surfecsc.com. So how have you been spending your summer vacation? Well, students in this next story have been busy designing robots, testing towers, and even launching rockets.
It's gonna go now.
Take a look at the first annual Hampton Roads STEM Summer Academy, a 4-day camp for middle school students.
Kids are exposed to science and engineering careers through activities in robotics, activities in engineering, and activities in rocketry.
With help from teachers as well as Navy scientists, these students are learning all about math and science.
The main goal is to encourage students to pursue careers in science and engineering. There's a tremendous deficit right now in scientists and engineers in the United States, and the Navy is interested in creating homegrown scientists and engineers to fulfill the needs of the U.S. and the needs of security in the United States.
And with events like this tower testing activity, students are having fun while learning at the same time.
Well, this is pretty much just our structure. We're trying to keep a whole bunch of weight on it. We add the looks afterwards, of course, but we're hoping that it just holds a lot of weight.
More than 40 students from Virginia Beach and 2 neighboring school districts attended the camp. The STEM Academy is a result of a new partnership with beach schools and 4 naval engineering commands. The College of William & Mary's School of Education also teamed up to host the event. They hope to offer it again next year. When we return on Access Virginia Beach, see how these students are becoming the leaders of tomorrow. And you've heard of flash mobs, but what about splash mobs? Find out why these campers are doing the pool hokey pokey. That is in just a bit.
Discover a force in nature that will make your hair stand up on end. Ride the tides and see how the sun can create electricity. See what it took to bring about man's first flight and tap into your magnetic personality. It will be the best time you will ever have. Okay, there is your birthday, but it's fun. Join me, Pilot Lindy, on the next How in the World.
Welcome back to Access Virginia Beach. I'm John Linka. Hundreds of teachers, principals, and administrators gathered at Corporate Landing Middle School for a national conference for educators hosted by Virginia Beach City Public Schools.
I believe the American public education system is absolutely the finest education system, literally in the world, bar none.
EdgesStat University 2011 brought educators from around the country for the three-day conference. They took part in discussions dealing with innovative teaching practices for the 21st century and their impact on student achievement.
You know, when you bring your administrators and teachers together within your district, we all have a tendency to talk about what we know. Sometimes it's good to step outside of that world. And that's what this conference is attempted to do. Step outside of the world to see what other school districts are doing, but also to see what the world has really changed into. We live in a technological world, and the academic skills of that technical world are higher and different than the academic skills we taught in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
The conference, presented in partnership with SchoolNet, featured national speakers, workshops, and case studies on a variety of topics.
Anytime you get the opportunity to have like-minded professionals get together to talk about what's important in education, particularly in transforming education, and in this particular conference we get an opportunity to share in Virginia Beach our Compass 2015 in three major areas that we're working on: balanced assessment, integrating technology into instruction in response to student needs. And then we can compare that to what we're hearing from national speakers to ensure that we're making decisions that are based on best practice, that can serve as models or can be modeled from what we're hearing from these speakers.
What is the single greatest pressure K-12 education will have in America in the next 12 months?
Creating 21st century learners involves responding to student needs, creating a balanced assessment system, and using up-to-date technology to develop better skills. Keynote presentations from EdgesStat University were videotaped and are available on the web at EdgesStat.com. Well, summer is in full swing, and most high school kids are either working on their tan or working on their bank account, earning a little extra spending money. But that wasn't the case for some beach students. Instead, they were busy learning how to be leaders. High school spirit was abundant as students and staff celebrated the 38th annual High School Leadership Workshop. Each year, students from across the school division converge on Virginia Wesleyan College for the conference. Today's lesson du jour?
Our project today is geared towards helping the Virginia Beach SPCA.
SPCA employee Amy McNally and her dog Harley talked with the students.
But because she was starved at such a pivotal time in her growth, she was only one. I call her my
Today's project, we looked at sponsoring the SPCA. So our kids made dog blankets and cat toys that we're going to donate to the shelter. We felt like it was really important that they not only learn about a valuable organization, but also be able to do something that's hands-on, that they can give back and benefit their community.
And their learning doesn't stop here. Students pass that knowledge on to fellow classmates back at school.
I think it's very empowering to know that we can help animals, not only just today, but we can bring it back to our school, like the walk for the animals, where our own school SCAs can participate in it.
I get so excited for each and every year just because you meet such a huge group of friends and you learn so many new things. Every year, you learn something new. I mean, every day, every second, you learn something new here.
From education to empowerment, students learn the fundamentals of becoming a good leader.
The basic foundation that we teach is that leadership is a service, and so through things like service learning projects, we enable them to not only learn skills, but to practice them and giving back.
The workshop has been grooming student leaders for decades. It actually began back in 1973, and this year, more than 125 students participated. And the students in this next story were also hard at work this summer. Rising seniors in the Legal Studies Academy at First Colonial participated in several internships with legal and law enforcement officials during their summer break.
Do you know if he's active duty or reservist?
Several of those students spent time interning with the Naval Legal Services Office, Mid-Atlantic. You may know them as the JAG Corps.
Our internship is a partnership with the City of Virginia Beach Public School System, First Colonial High School Legal Studies Academy. We bring in high school students here to spend 7 days at Naval Legal Service Office, Mid-Atlantic, so they have exposure to see how the Navy works, and more importantly, how the Navy provides legal services to our sailors, to the fleet, their dependents, and retirees.
The internships provided hands-on experience with Naval Criminal Investigative Services, criminal forensics, and a first-hand look at the military justice process.
I liked all the opportunities it granted me to rub elbows with so many different kinds of people, those in NCIS, all the attorneys, and Captain Palmer. Just a lot of experience at looking at executive leadership.
It's a unique opportunity for students to see concepts they have learned in the classroom put into practice in real-world situations.
So they get to see the attorneys, the civilian staff, and our enlisted personnel working with the concepts of the law to solve real-world problems of our clients.
So the first person I'd like to call up is Catherine Bishop.
After their time on board with the JAG Corps, a special ceremony was held in their honor.
It's just showing that they've successfully achieved their 50 hours of unpaid internship, which is part of a requirement for the legal studies program.
Students gain a greater knowledge of what goes on in a naval workplace.
It takes a lot of hard work and patience to work with clients, and it's a lot of takes a lot of patience to be with the clients, to not break that confidentiality, to make sure they're not a conflict of interest, and to help them as a whole. What the Navy does, I think, is a great thing, and it's giving back to their sailors.
This marks the 7th year that the Naval Legal Services Office has interned with First Colonial. For more information on the Legal Studies Academy, log on to vbschools.com and search for Academy programs. And with that, we've come to the end of our show. But if you've missed something or would like to see it all again, you can view this program online. Log on to vbgov.com/eStream, then find and click on Access Virginia Beach. We leave you now with a recent splash mob that occurred at 2 of our recreation centers. Members and campers from around the city took over the pools and danced the hokey pokey and turned themselves around. It was all in celebration of Parks and Recreation Month. For everyone here at VBTV, I'm John Lenka. Thanks for watching.